Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a little bit different than the usual INFP content that I post, but don't worry, I will be back with more of my usual content in due time. If you know me, you do know that when I go through stuff, I usually kind of take a step back from creative things that I usually do, and that's just because I don't really have the capacity within me to put energy into the things that I really love to do. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that anyway. So as you can tell by the title, I have been going through some stuff, which is why INFP content hasn't been uploaded as of yet. So I guess today is somewhat of a bit of a story time. I'm sure that was like a YouTube trend at some point. It's not why I'm doing it though. I just want to let you guys know of what's been going on with me and just to share a story. So about 6 months ago, I had discovered a lump in my breast, and this lump I wasn't so concerned with because I thought it probably had something to do with the fact that I nurse my son and have done since he was a newborn, and now he's 1.5. So, I actively nurse, and I thought this lump was to do with that. It was kind of something that flipped to the back of my mind, which isn't a usual thing for me, seeing as I have generalized anxiety disorder and I kind of freak out about everything. It wasn't until about a month and a half ago where I rediscovered this lump and kind of became somewhat concerned with it because it wasn't going away and I felt like it was getting larger. When I pressed against it, it was hard and you could tell that there was mass there. So I thought, okay, I should probably go to the doctor just to rule out anything sinister. Now, it's usually not suggested to me that I go to Dr. Google to diagnose myself with anything, but I did go on Google and I had found that most lumps that are discovered within women are not cancerous. So judging by my own lump, comparing it to the notes that I had found on Google, I figured that my own lump was benign. Again, this is very much unlike me because I always flip to the worst case scenario. So yeah, but I still thought it would be a good idea to check it out just to rule out anything bad. So about a month ago, we head to the doctor. I get it checked. It was the most bizarre experience just because I'm not used to having anyone kind of touch me there, but it was all for the greater good, of course. So my partner James was there with me, of course, and my son and daughter, and he asked the doctor many questions because I kind of don't. He's a really good spokesperson for me and he always fills the gaps in, so it's really good to be able to take him with me. So yeah, he asked the doctor many questions about what this lump could be, and the doctor said that there was a really good chance that it was benign. The reason he had come to this conclusion is the fact that the lump itself is movable, it has well-defined edges, it's kind of like an oval shape. There wasn't really any other signs of breast cancer such as inverted nipples or change of the thickness of the skin, or the lump wasn't sporadic or spread out with undefined edges. There was no dimpling of the skin, no lumps under my armpit or up my neck. So the doctor was in very good spirits about it, which is always good to hear. The doctor sent a referral off to radiology at North Shore Hospital here in Auckland so that I could get an ultrasound done and possibly a biopsy just to make sure 100% that the lump was benign. Because of course you can't be 100% sure, even if you're a very skilled person in knowing what the breast may look like and feel like from the outside. So coming home, I felt pretty good about this situation. I was fine. It didn't tend to worry me in the days following, which is great. However, one evening I became quite concerned. I had looked in the mirror to notice that I had a dip in my breast. So it was like the lump was on this side and then right next to it there was like a dip, and this concerned me because I didn't see this prior, or perhaps it was already there but I just didn't see it. James had informed me that the doctor did say this dip did exist, which was interesting. I can't remember hearing the doctor say that, but of course I trust what James said. But from that moment onwards, I went on Google looking at all the symptoms of breast cancer, freaking out, thinking that this dip was caused to like a change of texture or like a depression. I don't really know, but nevertheless, I was feeling concerned, and this was a new concern. Cue anxiety. Now, if you're a type of person who suffers from anxiety, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, kind of these very consuming thoughts that keep you up at night, and it's the what ifs, I'm going to die. That is the grim reality of having anxiety. So I'm starting to freak out, and then I say to James, look, this is a problem. I feel like I need to go back to the doctors, and just to have the doctor kind of reaffirm that, you know, the lump is probably not cancerous. The days following this anxiety, I had given my social worker a call to ask if she could call the radiology place and see if they could bump my appointment forward, because I had to wait for a whole month and a half to be seen. I could not handle anticipating every single day that this lump may be cancerous. You know, I was freaking out, and my whole household couldn't handle it. And voila, she got my appointment moved forward, so I only had to wait a few days from that moment. In the meantime, I was still really, really upset about this experience, and I just had this feeling of doom, and it's something that I couldn't get out of. Like, I felt like full panic mode, that, oh my gosh, I convinced myself that I was going to die, or that I was going to have cancer. You know, it's something that, even though the doctor said one thing and everyone around me was saying, you know, you're going to be fine, Lexi, rah-de-rah, I still felt this impending sense of doom. One night I was so upset, and I was crying, and I was lying in bed at the time, and James had come in to comfort me and hug me and said, you know, everything's going to be okay. And he understands the anxiety too, because, you know, he experiences the same kind of thing. You know, it was really nice to have him there, and he's so supportive. And he said, you know, hold up 1 minute, I'll be right back. And he went away from the room, and he came back, and he held my hand, and then he said, I'm here for you through thick and thin. I'm here for you when you are feeling down, and I'm never going to leave despite your mental health. He then proceeded to put a ring on my finger and had said, would you marry me? Now, of course, I said yes. I mean, I'd be crazy not to say yes to someone so supportive of me and who loves me for all of me, the ups and the downs, the highs and the lows, everything. He then kind of felt a little bad, because he would have rather taken me out somewhere really nice, you know, on a date night or something, to be able to propose to me in the way he thought that I deserved. However, I would have not changed the experience for anything. For him to have done that in such a vulnerable time just went to show me that he really was there for me through the ups and the downs. Now, I'm not saying this to take away from anyone else's experiences with their beautiful proposals, whether that be, you know, climbing a mountain or taking a nice walk through a forest or simply going out to dinner. But there was just something so special about the way that he did it, and so out of the ordinary. I'm very, very lucky to have him. So anyway, back to the breast lump thing. A few days later, we ended up going to radiology. We got stuck in traffic, and we had about 10 minutes to spare. We left 2 hours before the appointment as well, so it was really quite scary, thinking that I wasn't going to make my appointment and then I would have to book again for another few weeks. So we got there, and the doctor came in and waved the wand over my breast, and basically after about 30 seconds or a minute, she said, everything's fine here, it's just glandular tissue. And I'm just kind of like, pardon? Like, it's what? Sorry? And she said that if it were anything sinister, there would be shadowing or like a dark area within the ultrasound. But apparently my breast tissue is just very kind of sporadic and bizarre, like oddly spaced. She said it would probably come right after breastfeeding, that through pregnancy, breastfeeding, puberty, the breasts just go through so many changes that, you know, she said she had people come in with the exact same thing as me a lot. So for that, a big sigh of relief followed. And now I'm not worried about it. And the lump is still there, but it's just part of my breast tissue. But you know, this experience of mine just goes to show how much anxiety can hold on to you and how much of your happiness anxiety can take. My anxiety has gotten worse in my 20s. As a teenager, I didn't have it so bad or at all, but ever since I had my babies, things kind of got worse. I've even been so anxious to leave my house in fear that if I walked down the road, I would get hit by a car or a truck. And also, as someone who really loves to go on road trips and who loves to travel, I've begun to get a little concerned of being in a vehicle and having someone else crash into me. However, I do get treatment for this. I go to a maternal mental health group where I do receive counselling. It helps me so much, and it helps to know that I'm not the only one who has this kind of anxiety and that there are many people who can relate. It's a real pain in the butt. But you know, this is something that I want to face every day. And it started with driving lessons. I am continuing to face my fear all the time with certain things that I have anxiety around. I do know that going to face your fears is the best response to your anxiety. You know, that is one thing about me, is that I'm not afraid to face my fears. And I think that's what makes the biggest difference. I want to continue being able to grow and to get better. So I hope you're not too concerned with whatever's gone on, and I hope you weren't too alarmed with the title. I'm fine now, and you know, I want to continue with what I love to do, which is my YouTube, and continue to put my INFP content out there. So for now, I hope you have a really good day, night, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world, and I will see you all again next time.